Hello and welcome to another video, and this time is the third part and last part of the main three synergies between Hamusuke and different types of characters. I already explained the synergy between Hamusuke and the heavy hitters and the debuffers type of characters, and now I'm gonna try to explain and keep it short the synergy between this Hamusuke, the original, the SR version, and the chase characters that are a little bit uncommon nowadays because it's probably the most underdeveloped team of all the teams that are on the game. But we have some of the most OP characters on the game with the chase capabilities. And I'm gonna specifically focus on three main examples. The first one of those examples is No Dead No Life, also known as Seshi, this one, mainly if she is 5 stars or more. The second main example that I'm going to be using is Momon the Raven Black Hero, the original version, not the one with the horse. And the last example is Aura, the original character as well, not the version with the bow. And to begin with, I have to explain why does this synergy exist. And it exists because of Hamusuke Wild Headbutt skill, the Disappear in My Memory ultimate, and the passive skill. Basically everything except the basic attack. To keep it short, the West King of the Forest, that is a passive of Hamusuke, is that she's gonna enter that special state as soon as the game starts, and it can be knocked out of that special stance with 3 hits, but can gain the same effect when using the ultimate. And when that effect is active, it's gonna reduce all the enemy defense between 100 and 200, and also it's gonna reduce all the enemy physical defense by 12% all the way to 21%. So naturally, it's gonna be weakening all the enemy physical defense in a very considerable percentage, considering this is an SR character and not an SSR character or any kind of limited character. So this is a great support skill for physical type of characters like Momon, Seshi, and Auren. The other synergy is this exact point right here that I touch and this one right here. When you use the ultimate with Hamusuke, aside of dealing damage and area of effect and blah blah blah, it also procs the ally with the highest attack to launch an assist against the primary target. You know, the one that you want to focus. So your ally with the highest attack, even if it doesn't have any assist rate, is gonna go in and throw a basic attack to deal extra damage. But a better version of it is here in the wall headbutt, is single target damage skill that you're gonna be able to use against one single enemy, but it's also gonna proc or trigger your ally with the highest damage or the highest attack to launch an assist to help Hamusuke deal more damage. But upon doing that, also inflicts crit boost on the target of the assist for 1 round. That means that the ally that is going to launch the assist is going to have extra 20% crit rate or crit chance, and at level 5, 10% turn meter boost. And you can combine that with the captain skill of Hamusuke that is makes the assist attacks deal 10 or 20% more damage depending on the stance. In this case it will be 20% because Hamusuke will mainly be on the West King of the Forest state. Now I'm gonna try to explain uh, from the easiest to the hardest character to explain with this synergy. So the easiest is Aura, this one right here, mainly because the ultimate and the passive skill. And basically when she throws the ultimate, aside of dealing a ton of damage, she gets into the mounted stance, a specific, buff for her that makes her more viable to do and perform chases on the attacks from allies to enemies. So she basically gains a ton of assist rate. Well, the equivalent to assist rate for the chase category. And then with the weakness scan, when she attacks someone, she puts the weakness exposed for 2 rounds, her special exclusive debuff that basically makes the enemy receive 6% more damage from Aura for every stack, and every time she attacks them can be stacked up 5 times. That means a total of extra 30% more damage at max stacks. So if Aura hits the same enemy 5 times with basic attacks, it could be the Queen Slash on her turn, or it could be for chases or assists or even counters. Just by doing that 5 times, the next attack she's gonna be doing 30% more damage. The important part here is that ideally you're gonna be playing this aura before Hamusuke. And should be fairly easy because she has Aeon speed, just like Hamusuke. You're gonna try to get as much or as close as possible that you can to 80% crit chance. And in my case, it's just 67, which is not a lot, but it's definitely not bad at all. But let's say that you try to aim for the 80%. What is going to happen is that when you play Aura first, you throw the Hunting Strike, so she gets the Mountain Stance as soon as you can, and then when Hamusuke turn comes in, you throw the Wild Headbutt to the enemy. Only if the enemy has not attacked Hamusuke 3 times and the West King of the Forest state is still active. If it got deactivated, you throw the ultimate of Hamusuke. But ideally, you will have so much speed that you're gonna be having the first turn. So you throw the Wild Headbutt of Hamusuke to the main target that you want to hit. And what's gonna happen is that Hamusuke is gonna deal a decent amount of damage, and it's immediately gonna give 20% more crit chance to Aura. So if you have 80% on her, you're gonna be able to have the 100%, the guaranteed critical hit. Not only that, but when she does, well, she gains the 20% crit chance, she's gonna perform her chase because on the mounted stance, she's gonna have way more chances of chasing the enemy. Increases the chance triggering rate by 30%, and her chases deal 10% higher damage. And that can increase, all the way to 70% fixed chance. So what happens is that uh, more likely when Hamusuke triggers Aura to do an assist, she's gonna jump in, do an assist to the enemy with guaranteed critical damage, go back to her place, then he's gonna put the weakness exposed on debuff on the enemy, and she's gonna go in again and perform a chase. That way you use Hamusuke turn to get Aura to hit the same enemy twice in a row. So you hit the same enemy with a chase, an assist, and a normal attack, all in one single action, and Aura basically got double benefit from that because she did critical damage twice on the same enemy. She put 2 stacks of the weakness exposed, and or at least she had double the chances of doing that because it's not a fixed chance of putting the debuff, but she had double the chances of putting weakness exposed on the enemy, and of course, because she did the chase, she is dealing extra damage if she actually was able to put the special debuff. That will be the synergy with her as a chase character, and the easiest one to explain. The other one that isn't as easy to explain but still fairly normal is with this character right here, Momon. In this case, he has his own captain skill to increase chase damage, but ideally you will play Momon before Hamusuke again, and you're gonna use the 1 versus 1000 skill. So he enters the hero's debut stance for 1 round. That basically makes him throw guaranteed chase attacks on the enemies every time an ally attacks the enemy. So you have guaranteed chases. With Aura you have 70% fixed chance. With Momo you basically have 100% after throwing that skill, which is a decent amount. Or well, not a decent amount, is a very good thing to achieve the 100% chances of doing a chase attack on the enemy. And also Momo is gonna gain the attack boost and damage taken down for 1 round. That is basically taking 20% less damage than usual. After using Momo for this skill, the 1 versus 1000, you're gonna play Momon and Hamusuke after Momon. And again, if Hamusuke is on the West King of the Forest state, you're gonna use the Wall Headbutt. If the enemies deactivated the West King of the Forest stance, you're gonna throw the ultimate of Hamusuke. But either way, you're gonna proc an assist from the ally with highest attack. In this case, it will be Momon, because you may have like a healer, a tank, then Hamusuke as the warrior, and Momon as the main damage dealer, and Aura or Seshi, whatever, depending on what you have. So what's gonna happen is that Hamusuke is gonna again deal damage, proc Momon to deal an assist on the enemy. Maybe depending on your captain skill, you will have more or less damage. More if Hamusuke is the captain, less if Momon is the captain. But after dealing the assist, he's gonna go back to his place and attack again with the chase. And the synergy here is between the basic attack and the passive. Basically, the basic attack is just a normal attack, but has 40% fixed chance to reduce the cooldown by 1 round, which at the start of the game is not gonna be useful because your ultimate is not gonna be unused yet. That's gonna be after the 1 versus 1000. But if the game drags longer, and you repeat this same combo over and over again, the slash is gonna reduce your cooldown on the ultimate in a guarantee. Like if it doesn't reduce it on the assist, it's gonna reduce it on the chase or on the normal attack. So don't worry for that. But the synergy, the real synergy, comes with the weakness detection passive skill. For every 3 attacks launched, the third attack nullifies 75% of the target's defense and guarantees a critical hit. That means that just like with Aura with the 80% crit and so, you're gonna be able to guarantee crits with Momon as well. And these are gonna be even better because instead of increasing progressively your damage 6% at the time like Aura passive does, this is literally a nullifying or a defense nullifying skill that is gonna be much more important and way more useful because you're gonna combine this 75% target defense nullified with the extra 21% that Hamusuke West King of the Forest stance gives. So you have a total of 96% of the enemy physical defense ignored. And if you combine that with a termination set on this moment, you're gonna be able to ignore more than 100% of the total physical defense of the target in this special attack, on the third attack of Momon, every time he throws the third attack. So you can guarantee that. In my specific case, I do not have termination set on him. As you can see here, I have the stars set. But you could equip a termination set that allows you to ignore from 20 to 30% of the target any physical defense. So with this, you're gonna be able to take advantage of Momon and Hamusuke's passive to basically make Momon be almost a true damage type of damage dealer character. But of course, that's gonna be only on the third attack. And the order here will be that ideally play Momon first. So you play the 1 versus 1000 skill, that will be the first hit. Then when Hamusuke plays in and throws the wall headbutt, giving 20% more crit to Momon, for example mine has 50, having a total of 70 will be really nice. So he will go in to do the assist attack, because that is what procs first, is gonna do more damage with a chance of critting on the enemy, and then he's gonna perform the chase from the 1 versus thousands and the Heroes Debut stance. So when he performs the chase attack, that is already the third attack, and that third attack is gonna be nullifying 75% of the target defense plus 21% of the target physical defense from Hamusuke passive, with a total of 96% out of 100. It could be more than the 100% if you have termination set. And that attack is gonna be a guaranteed critical hit. And that is only literally after Momon first turn. You could already proc that. So imagine when you, for example, have something like Pestoni on your team to accelerate Momon turn meter over and over again with her ultimate. You could basically make Momon constantly spam the 1 versus 1000 attack and constantly performing double chase and assist at the same time, doing double damage to the enemy every time Hamusuke gets a turn to throw the wall headbutt or the ultimate skill. So you're gonna be able to basically accelerate the weakness detection triggering on the enemy. So by the time you normally will be able to get the second attack and preparing yourself for the third defense nullifying attack, with this combo you already did the third attack and you're already dealing extra damage because you're doing all of that before the enemy even has a chance to defend themselves. If you want to make sure that that is absolutely wrecking to the enemy, you can put this Musketeer, so it increases everyone's attack and physical defense way more and lowers the enemy defense with the ultimate a ton. So with defense already lowered by this skill and the nullifying defense effect from Hamusuke Momon, you're already destroying the enemy. And that will be for the combo with Momon. For the combo with Seshi, is a little bit more complex than that. As you can see here, she's also a heavily critical chance character incline, but that is going to be good because as you were able to see here, again, she has 82% on my case. With Hamusuke wall headbutt, that will guarantee critical hits even if she was, for example, 3 stars. Because when she is 5 and 6 stars, she's able to guarantee critical hits way more often than usual. And the synergy here is going to be with the passive skill and the Steel Fist skill. You know, remember that every chase and assist attack, even counter attacks, use the basic attack to deal damage. So the chases and the assist attacks that you're gonna be proccing are gonna be using the Steel Fist. That means certain amount of physical damage and the chance of putting speed down on the enemy and then lowering their speed by 20%. So you're gonna be having the chance to constantly debuff the enemy and do physical damage that is gonna nullify part of the enemy defense because of Hamusuke passive skill. But then the synergy doesn't stop there. The synergy continues here. As you can see here on the second point of the passive skill, when she's faster than the target, she inflicts additional defense nullifying physical damage equal to 20 times the difference of speed between her and the enemy. So if she's faster than the enemy, you're also dealing another hit. Well, the damage that you're doing with the Steel Fist is going to be nullifying the enemy physical defense. And not only that, when she's faster than the target, she's going to treat the target as immobilized, and by that nullifies 25% of their defense. So if we combine the 25% from Seshi with the 21% from Hamusuke, we have a total of 46% total physical defense nullified when she attacks the enemy. But not only that, every time she attacks the enemy, she's gonna steal 2 points of speed from the enemy. So even aside of the extra damage nullifying part of their defense, and so the having of the chance of putting speed down on the enemy, she also has the chance of speeding herself by stealing 2 points of the target speed, and that is all the way until either the enemy dies or Seshi dies, or she already instilled the max cap of speed that she can do. But not only that, every 25 points of speed that she has over the enemy means more damage by 1% every 25 points of speed. So if you have this character with a ton of speed, you're dealing even more damage than usual. And if she attacks someone immobilized, she's gonna do what is called an execution. And if she's faster than the target when allies attack, she's also gonna treat it as immobilized. That means that if we combine this point that I'm touching right here alongside the third point of the passive, that means that every time one ally attacks someone, she's gonna perform an execution that for practical purposes is a chase attack. And every time she attacks someone in the situation where she's faster than the enemy, she's gonna perform a chase as well. So every time she attacks on her own turn is gonna be double attack. Her normal attack and then the execution. Or well, normal or the ultimate or whatever you choose, and then the execution. And every time one ally attacks the enemy, she's gonna go and perform an execution. But what the execution is, well, is this. Is physical damage equal to 75% attack from this character to the target, with physical damage increasing by 5% for every 10% the target is missing HP. So this is 75% of our attack as damage to the enemy, that increases if the enemy is losing health. So you have an extra attack that punishes the enemy for being low on HP, steals speed from the enemy every time she attacks, and not only that, but she deals more damage to the enemy if she's faster than the enemy, and nullifies part of the enemy physical defense, as well as dealing additional defense nullifying damage again if she has an advantage of speed over the enemy. And on top of that, you have the chance of putting speed down on the enemy to boost all the extra damage based on the speed difference. I know like 3 points are basically the same. That can be resumed in if she's faster than the enemy, she's gonna deal more damage. But that's how the passive is managed and written, and written here. But that will be like the main synergy. You could in this case not play Hamusuke before the enemy or before Tsueshi in this case, because she has S on speed and her 4-star upgrade always makes her play first and all of that. But the combo here, for example, even if you have her like 3 stars and you cannot use the immobilize extra damage because she gains that at 5 stars and 6, you can use her first attack, her first turn to throw the ultimate. So you stun the enemy, and when you stun the enemy already counts as immobilized, and it's gonna proc her to do an execution attack that is basically a chase, and it's a Steel Fist. You have all these bonuses plus the passive bonuses. And why do I say this a chase? Because I have tested using this issue with Momon, using his captain passive or his captain skill passive active and deactivated. And when she performs the chase and Momon is the captain, she has the extra damage. So that means that the execution is a chase, not an assist attack, like many thought. But anyway, you will use ideally her ultimate skill on the first turn to stun the enemy to make him immobilize, so she performs a chase, deals all the damage she can, and she gains all the benefits from the passive. Then when you play Hamusuke, you throw the wall headbutt, you damage the enemy. The amount depends on how upgraded you have Hamusuke, but you're gonna proc Seshi to again go in, do an assist attack that is gonna make use of her basic attack and her passive skill, and then when she goes back, she's gonna treat the enemy as immobilized, and she's gonna perform the execution. So she goes again at the same enemy for a second time to do damage a second time, and then she goes back to her place, and you already managed to hit the same enemy 3 times in just one turn with Hamusuke skill. And by that, you're accelerated all of the scaling that she has in game during the match of her passive, because you already will have hit the enemy twice in just Hamusuke's turn. That means that instead of stealing 2 points of speed, she already stole 4 points, and all the extra damage that nullifies defense and all the extra damage that she does for the missing kill of the enemy, she already did that twice, because instead of going in for an execution attack that is basically a one hit, uh, and that's it, she's doing it twice. So she's having double benefits to her speed, and she's having the opportunity of doing critical damage to the enemy twice in a row. If you pair that with a character like this tank right here that lowers the enemy physical defense and increases everyone physical damage, or you combine her with this healer right here that increases critical damage by a ton, or you put, for example, this mage right here that also increases everyone's attack by a lot, or you put this healer on the team that is able to give another turn to your characters with the turn meter boost and is able to reduce the skills cooldown, you're gonna be able to basically make Seishi constantly harass the enemy even if she is not having a turn. And because she has a ton of turns, because she has, basically the best stat of speed on the game, like she's the fastest character in the game, she's always gonna have multiple turns to harass the enemy, and with your Hamusuke turns, you're making the harassment capabilities double the effective. So you're gaining double points of speed, double the physical damage, and you had double the chances of doing critical hits to the enemies. And that is what will be the main synergy between these two characters. I already explained the synergy of the heavy hitters and the buffers on other videos, so if you have the doubts, you can go and check those. But I'm gonna try to show it here with maybe 1 and 2 examples, like quick examples against any boss, and then I'm gonna try to publish or upload a video when I go to the arena mode and make use of that mechanic. I'm gonna use this Hamusuke Seshi and Diro Hamusuke and maybe Victim or Pestonia or Albedo, the examples that I gave, and I'm gonna show you how that works. And then I'm gonna replace Eshi with Aura and show you how it works, and then I'm gonna replace her with Momon and show you how it works. So this is the video to explain how it works. I'm gonna give you a basic example or maybe two, and then I think tomorrow I can give you like 4 or 5 matches showing you how the combo works. So with everything explained, thanks for being here, and until the next time.
ってこないのか。
何かお手伝いできることがありますか？何でも私に任せ。参ります。はっ。いつでもご命令をお待ちしております。そこまででござる。
どんなものにも失敗はある。ならばその失敗を繰り返さんよう努力する。